Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to implement Google sign in a Blazor Web Assembly standalone app, the pure SPA standalone application. Okay, so there is no server part in this, pure Blazor Web Assembly. All right, let's quickly create a project. Let's name it uh, Blazor was Google sign in. Okay, let's create this project. Now I'm choosing .NET 9, the latest one, but it will be applied similarly for other versions. So here I'm going to choose authentication type as individual account. So it is going to give us some initial boilerplate for implementing this OIDC authentication. So if you already have some existing application, existing Blazor WebAssembly app, you can also, what you can do, you can simply create a separate project with this, and you can copy over the boilerplate code to your existing project. All right. Now, progressive web app, it's up to you. If you are going to create PWA, then you can check this or uncheck this. It does not matter for this thing. Then just create the project. Let's wait for it. So project is here. Now let me show you what is the difference here. Uh, Other than that, the default template, if you didn't choose that individual account, then the first thing it does, it adds this Microsoft ASP.NET Core Components WebAssembly Authentication, this package. Okay, this NuGet package. Then in program.cs, it adds this piece of code. So builder.services.add OIDC authentication. And here we have this builder configuration bind local and options provider options. So this I'll show you from where this local is coming and what this is. And after this, if you go to layout, we have simple login display, which simply use the authorized view, authorized, not authorized, the classic thing, the way we implement authorization and authentication in Blazor applications. So for this, to understand all these things better, I already have a video on my channel. I think couple of videos. In those, I showed you how to implement authentication and authorization in Blazor applications, including Blazor Web App, Blazor Server, WebAssembly, or standalone WebAssembly as well. I'm going to drop the link of those videos in the description box so you can check those out. And then in pages, we have this authentication.razor, this page. Here, if you see, we don't have any markup. We just have this remote authenticator view, this component, which comes from this. The route is slash authentication slash action. This action we are passing directly to the remote authenticator view. Now, this is the component which does heavy lifting for us. Uh, how to redirect our app to the third party provider, in this case Google, but if we have implemented other OAuth 2, maybe uh, GitHub, sign in with LinkedIn, X, Microsoft, whatever we are using. So redirecting to there and then getting the response back and then handling or setting our claims identity and all those things, all these are being handled by this thing. Okay, so these are the things which are different here. Now the initial starting point is this add OIDC authentication, this builder.configuration.bind local. Now this is coming from configuration. So the default configuration is in app settings.json, but this is same. You can have it in secrets, you can have it here, environment variables. So whatever places you are having your secret keys, so it will work for all. Now here we have this local authority and client ID. These two are the basic things which we need to implement any third party authentication. What I'll do, I'll simply copy this. I'll comment this out for now. I'm not using this. Now this name is up to you. For this Google, so let me use Google. Then authority for Google, the authority is accounts.google.com. This is where we have our we whenever we try to log in using Google, it goes to this only. Then we need client ID. We need to get this client ID. For this, we need to register our app in Google Developer Console. That we'll do next. But before that, we have changed this local to Google. So let's go to program.cs and here let's change this local to Google. Okay, if we are using other, then we can add others as well. Cool. Now we are adding this client and authority here. If we want to, we can have all these things here as well. We can say options dot we have provider options dot we have authority. We can set that here as well if we want to, that https accounts.google.com, the same thing, accounts.google.com, and other things as well. Other was client id, that also we can set here if we want to. So these are same. All right, now let's quickly go to the browser to register our app and to get the client id. Okay, we'll go to the browser and here let's search for Google Developers Console. We'll go to Google Developers Console, Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, console.developers.google.com. Let's go here. Here we need to create a new project using some other project. So let's create a new project. New project. The name is up to you. You can name it whatever you want. For me, let's use Blazor WASM or okay. Organization. It's up to you. If you want to, you can have it. Is creating the project. Let it create. It is done. Then we'll simply select this. So Blazor WASM auth YT. We'll select this project. Okay. It's selected now. Now we are going to have all these things. If you don't have this, you can simply come here and here you will see API and services. Click on it and we'll be here. Now we need to set OAuth consent screen first. We'll come here, click on it. It's saying Google Auth platform not configured. Let's configure it. So get started. App information, app name. So let's say what is this? Blazor was auth YT, right? User support email and have it whatever support email you want to. Audience, we are going to have external because we are just testing right now. Contact information, same, email ID. Next, I agree, continue, and just create the project. Let's wait for it to be created. Auth configuration created. Now we are here. Then we need to create our OAuth client. So let's create OAuth client. Let's wait for it to load up. Here we have application type. Sometimes what happens, it takes time. If you'll come here, it will not show this thing. It will say that you need to set up the consent screen. Sometimes it happens. You can wait or keep on refreshing the page. If you refresh this page, then you'll see this thing. And if you somehow miss this thing, you can simply come here. When you'll come here, create OAuth client, or here, this left section, you can simply create on clients. This is the same thing. Okay. You'll say create client and you'll come to the same screen. Application type, this is web application, right? So we'll choose web application, then client name. This name is up to us and this is not going to be shown to the user. This is for our identification, and we can have multiple clients in a single project. That's why this name is here. But for our case, we will just have, say, Blazor Web, or let's have the same name. Okay. After that, we have authorized JavaScript origins and then authorized redirect URIs. Now, this redirect URIs, we need to set this. Now, what this is, how this OAuth flow works from our application. We will have some button or some mechanism to log in using this third-party provider. In this case, login with Google. So we'll click on that button. Then it will come to the Google provider of our authentication OAuth. Okay, so it will come to the Google. Then we'll have our username, email, and password. Then after authenticating, it will redirect back to our application with some information of the currently logged in user. Okay, so with that information, to what URL in our application it should come to. So that redirect URI we need to add here so that we can handle the response of that login, and then we can grab the user identity and then set up our authentication in our application. That is what we are going to do using this thing. Now, because we are using individual account, let me open here this thing, authentication page, this URL. This is going to handle all these things for us. Okay, how to handle it? For this, we need to get the URL. Now, what that URL is going to be? It will be there is going to be this predefined URL, because how it will know that this is the login callback. So it is called login callback. So the URL is going to be, first we need to have our domain. In properties, in launch settings, we will have this thing, localhost 7286. Okay, let's come to the this thing, this slash authentication, which is coming from here, then slash this action. Now what that action is, these are predefined strings which are being used in remote authenticator view. How to get these? For this we are going to have remote authentication actions dot, here we have couple of constants. We have logout callback, login, register, login callback. So this is the thing which we need to use. If I go here, this is the predefined action. So we'll have this in place of this action. Now when we'll set this URL in Google, let's copy this thing, go to the Google, authorize redirect URIs, let's set this and we'll create. Okay, and we can see this client is created. Now we have this client ID, we'll simply copy this client ID, copy OAuth client. Now we are done with the Google's developer console side of things. Now we are here in our code. We need to save that client ID. Set this in our www root app settings.json, or you can directly set this in program.css. Now for this is the default URL. If you want to somehow modify this, what you can do? So all the things what you can do, this app settings.json for these things, setting up the provider for authentication, all these things you can do here as well. So here you will have options dot authentication paths dot login callback path. So here you can have your own path, whatever it is, ABCD or whatever you want to do it, you can handle. Okay, but we are going to go with the default, which is fine, which will be handled automatically. We don't need to worry about it. Okay, this is the login callback which we need to use. Now that's all what we need to do. Now everything will be handled by the application. Okay, we have this login display. There is this thing where we have this authorized view, authorized, not authorized. If we are not authorized, it is going to show us this login with the URL. If you see authentication slash login, now it will go to the same authentication page where we have remote authenticator view. All the stuff related to authentication, login, logout, and all these things handling the login callback from third party, all these are going to be handled by this only. That's why we are going to use all these URLs from here on. Now these are predefined things, this login, because this is how this remote authenticator view is going to use these actions. We should not change these. Maybe we can customize this, that I didn't play around with it. But what we can do here, we can have our own custom render fragments for different stuffs. For example, how to display the, oh sorry, this login failed. If the login is failed, then what needs to be displayed, that you can have here. Logout failed, then what you can do. So all these things we are logging in. So you can provide your own render fragments, your own HTML snippets, which will be displayed for all these cases. So this is how you can modify the UI. But we don't need to do this for this simple case. Okay. All right, login display. So for login we are using this, for logout we are using this, and if we are logged in, that means we are in authorized case, then what it is doing, hello, then context.user.identity.name, we will have the logged in user's name. Now let's see if we run this, if we can see this thing. Okay, and for this authorized view, authorized, not authorized, all these are classic Blazor authentication authorization related stuff. For this I already mentioned I have videos, so I would recommend you guys to check those videos out first to understand how authentication and authorization works in Blazor, then come to this video so that you'll already have the understanding how these things are working. Then this is the third party OIDC provider, these are on top of the basic authentication actually. Let's try to run it. Let's see what we get. App is here. It is loading, authorizing, and then we can see this login. If we check, If we inspect it, we'll see the URL is same this authentication slash login. Login, it goes to authentication login and then it got redirected to this Google accounts.google.com for logging in using. Now we have something in our browser, this JavaScript eval and all this. So this is a problem with Blazor if we are running in debug mode. Then if we are uh, trying to open any URL, so almost all these websites use some JavaScript and that JavaScript is getting executed. So this just freaks out. It throws these exceptions and all. So we can just continue. These are not coming from our application. Okay, so we can simply ignore these JavaScript related these errors, the eval and all. Now we are here. Here we can see to continue Blazor WASM auth YT. This is the thing which we created when we created an app. We set the app name. This is what that app name is. Here we are going to login. Login. After logging in, pay attention to this URL. Before that, it will say set ID is still on Google side. Now here, this is our app name, and here privacy policy terms of service. You can set these URLs as well. Continue, and now you see authentication slash login callback with some other stuff. Completing login, then boom, we are on home page. Here, if you see, we have hello. Then this is the email name. What we have, what I have, debug with Abhay, and then log out button. All this stuff. Now let's see what we got actually. If we inspect, if we try to see if we have some information in dev tools, we'll go to application, zoom it. Here, let's try if we have something in cookies. Cookies, we don't have anything. In local storage, we don't have anything. Session storage, we have a couple of things here. So Microsoft ASP.NET Component, WebAssembly authentication related stuff. Again, and then we have this oidc.user. Here we have user information. If we see ID token, this is Google's access token. Scope, open ID and profile. Then this profile here, if we see, we have AZP, given name, JTI name, picture sub. Sub is the subject, that means the unique ID. This is from Google's side. So we could say our user ID on Google. Okay, and have some code related to this one as well, that in your application your user is going to have some user ID. You can map that user ID with this Google user ID. Then we have this given name. This is the main name of this name also. But if you see, we might need email as well, but we didn't get that email here, right? That is because the default scopes it uses, that is open ID and profile, only these two scopes. Okay, now before that, let me show you one more thing. If I refresh this page, authorizing, and we are authorized, we don't have anything. So what it does, that remote authenticator view does, it simply try to silently log in. So this was silent login. If it is somehow not able to silently log in, then it will redirect us to the Google's site in this case. All right, what I was saying, by default it is using that profile, but we need email as well. So here what we can do, we can say builder, not builder, options dot provider options dot default scope. This is the I list of string. Here we can add other scopes as well. Here we can provide email as an additional scope. Now if I try to restart the application, rerun the application, now we will have that email ID as well. Now we'll have email ID and name and the unique Google ID which we can use to identify the user. See if we get this. Authorizing, login, checking login state. We are here, we just need to select our account because we can have multiple accounts here. Oh, in that, if we'll run it on non-debug mode, then it will simply work fine. For the on production also, it will work fine. Continue. Login callback. We can see this. Let's quickly see if we got the email now. Go to the application, session storage, OIDC user information, profile, and we can see email. Email verified true, and this is the email. Now in the scopes, we can see OpenID, profile, and email. You can add other scopes as well. So all these things. Cool. This is how we can implement this. But now, if you want to access this user's information, we have this user information here. So for this, we can use the normal Blazor way. The way we can use Blazor. So if we want to access something in the code, the template, then the same way we are using this login display, we can access this. So user's identity.name, we can directly access it like this. But if you want to access other things, all the claims and all that stuff, for this, let me quickly create a page here. In pages, add razor component. Let's call it user. Or you can name whatever you want. It's up to you. At the rate page slash user hyphen info. Then we can simply add this in our nav menu as well. Here we'll say user hyphen info and just user info. And we can maybe have this only when user is authenticated. Okay, so we can say authorize view, and inside this we are going to use authorize. So this is classic Blazor stuff. Now this link user info, it will be there only if we are authorized. That means we are logged in, then only we'll go user info. Now you can use that authorize attribute as well here if you want to, but for now let's leave it like this one. Now here, to access the user's information in our code, we are going to use cascading authentication, which is already set up in app.razor. We'll see we have this cascading authentication state. So this is Blazor authentication authorization related stuff, just showing you how to access the other information. So here what we'll do, public task of authentication state. The name is up to you. You can name it whatever you want, property name. This should be decorated with cascading parameter. This will be provided by Blazor. All right. Then we can simply say override on initialized async. Here we can use the auth state using this await auth task, this one. Now if we see this auth state, this is going to be authentication state. Now, from this authentication state, we can access the user, which is actually claims principal. On this claims principal, we are going to have all claims. Okay, so using these claims, we can simply get all the claims is of type claim. We can have all the values. For now, let's see what all claims we have. We can simply see. So here I'm going to create a private claims principal underscore this. Let's have a default value. Then here I'll say underscore principal equals auth state user. Now in here in the markup, what we can do, we can simply have a UL. I'm just showing you how to access all these things. Here we'll say for each for C in underscore principal dot claims. And here we can simply say li, then we'll say C dot type, the claim name, value will have C dot value. Save it. Let's try to come here. Let me run this app and we'll see what all we can get from this logged in users. And then we can use these things to pass to our API or somewhere or whatever we want to do with all this stuff. We can do this. So here we just, if you saw, initially we didn't have this user info. After that we have user info, because when the user was not authorized, it was authorizing or not authorized, then user info was not. Now it has. If we click on this, we can see these are all the claims what we We have AZP subject, which is the unique Google ID, email, name, picture, given name, JTI, and all these stuff. We will be interested in name, email, we might show the picture as well, and then the subject. All right. So this is how you can access the users information, currently logged in users information, and this is how we can implement sign in with Google in a Blazor standalone WebAssembly. Now that's all for this video. Now there is one more thing. So using only Google information, you might have your API layer where you want to have the user's identities. You will not have a direct authentication system there that you'll use from Google's, but you might want to pass this information to your API. If you want to you want me to create a dedicated video for this, do let me in the comment. I can maybe extend this thing. I can create a API layer, and then I'm going to pass this current users information to the API. There we'll implement authorization mechanism because authentication is being handled using this sign in with Google only. Okay. All right. So that's all for this video. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe my channel. I'll be back soon with some other cool video. Till then, bye bye.